Hello guys, Lone Vic here again, and today I'm back with another how to play video of this very fresh arrival that was campaigned on Kickstarter not a while back, Sniper Elite, the board game from Rebellion Unplugged. This is a game based in the same world as the electronic entertainment games from the Sniper Elite series, and it's a hidden movement game for 1 to 4 players in which one player will be taking on the role of the titular sniper, and the other players will be trying to prevent the sniper from achieving his goal as the German officers and soldiers. So let's take a look at how this game is played and set up in a multiplayer game. Due to the amount of changes when it comes to the solo playthrough, there will be a separate video with the solo rules explained for this game, as well as a solo playthrough from me later on. But for now, let's take a look how to play this game with a bigger crowd. If you like the video, if it helped you in any way, if you like what I'm doing here on this channel and you would like to support me, click the like under the video, ring the notification bell, hit the subscribe button. You can ask questions or leave your comments in the comment section below as well. I will be very much grateful for that. And right now let's dive right in to the setup of Sniper Elite, the board game. Okay guys, so as you can see, I've got the main components already here. There is the main board, which is double-sided. In the core box you've got 2 maps on 2 sides. We've got the round board tracker. We also have the German miniatures in 3 base colors. There are 3 miniatures with black, red and yellow bases each, and each of these miniatures are divided into 2 categories. There is this officer miniature that you can see with the iron cross on the base. That's 1 officer per every color, and 2 soldiers with regular flat bases, 2 soldiers per each color set. If you are playing a 4-player game, then each player playing with the Germans will be controlling 1 group of those soldiers, so yellow, red and black for each player, and 1 player will be the sniper. In a smaller count game, the players responsible for the Germans will be controlling more groups, or they will be collectively deciding what to do with those groups. Okay, so first let's take a look at the sniper setup, and I have this area here devoted to the sniper, and this is the area for the main game. So with the sniper, it's very crucial that the setup is kept hidden from all the players, all the choices, all the cards and everything. So for each of the maps, we've got a set of cards with objectives, and there is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 of those for each map, and each card corresponds to 1 number on the board here, or here on the smaller sniper board. So the sniper draws 2 cards from this deck and keeps them secret, mind you, right? And these will tell him which numbers of objectives he has to reach on the map. But if the sniper manages to draw 2 cards with the same suit, you have to return 1 of them, and you can choose which one, and redraw from the deck. Oops, the same suit again, sorry. There we go. Sorry guys, I screwed up and put a different map for the sniper player, so I had to cut the video and change it up. Okay, so objective number 9 is, for example, here, and objective number 7 is here. So those suits inform us that those objectives are in different colored zones. They don't have to match up the colors of the cards, obviously, because you don't have a yellow suit in the cards, but 7 is in the black zone, 9 is in the red zone. So you can't have 2 objectives in the same zone. So these objectives are kept hidden by the sniper. The second thing that the sniper does is they take the bag and load it up with tokens that will be used during the shooting action. So you basically load your clip, let's say. And what you do is you take 6 aim tokens and throw them in the bag. You grab 2 noise tokens and throw them in the bag, and you take 3 recoil tokens and throw them in the bag. You mix it up well, and this is the sniper's bag for shooting. Now, if you are playing with the add-on called the Eagle's Nest, then you will have 4 snipers to choose from, each with their special skill. So there will be Carl, June, Rosa, and Major Easy. And when you are playing with the Eagle's Nest add-on, instead of creating this mix of 6 aim, 2 noise, and 3 recoil tokens, you use the combination of tokens that's shown on your selected sniper card. So that's the difference in the setup if you are going to play with the Eagle's Nest add-on. Next, the sniper player takes a look at all of the loadout cards they have at their disposal and selects 3 to keep, and if they want, they can take 2 cards of the same type even, and places them face down in front of them as well, because their loadout is secret for the enemy players. So let's say that I will take 1 distraction rock, I will take 1 S mine, and I will take me some silenced ammo. So those are my 3 cards. The rest of those cards should be shuffled and placed somewhere next to the board, as they will be forming a deck from which the sniper will be drawing new cards later on during the game. So I'll leave it here. Okay, so now we can move to the defender setup, and I will clean out those unused objective cards, return them to the box. So the defenders have this whole map at their disposal. They won't see anything happening here. This is kept in secret, and the sniper player will be using a marker to mark his or her movement over there. But the defender miniatures first have to be spread out on the starting spaces. So if this is an officer, for example, from the black group, because we've got the Iron Cross base, he goes on the space marked with the black Iron Cross symbol. The 2 black soldiers go onto those 2 black spaces that you can see here. Similarly, we do with the reds, with the officer going on the Iron Cross symbol, and yellow with the officer on the Iron Cross as well. So this is the miniatures entering the play. For each of the teams, yellow, red, and black, the defending players can choose from this deck of 6 specialist cards which specializations will each of the officers have. So for example, I will take a scout, I will take a sniper, I will move this up a bit so that I have some room, and I will take a radio operator. And the rest of the cards is returned to the box. You take the action cubes in the 3 available colors for the squads, and you assign 2 of these cubes to each of the specialists so that you know which squad they are assigned to, like so, for example. So the radio operator is this officer, and the sniper is the red officer, and the scout is the black officer, and the remaining cubes go onto the 10 space on the round track. Locate the wound token, which is double-sided, and place it full side up on the designated space on the round tracker. And right now we are ready to start the game of Sniper Elite, the board game. So for a quick overview of what's going on the board, the sniper will always take the first move in every game, followed by the moves of all of the players. Now, each player will be controlling 1 group or more groups of defenders, and each group of defenders has 2 actions to use up. So only 2 of the 3 soldiers will be acting in every round. The sniper makes a lot of his movements in secrecy, and I will tell you exactly which things does he have to announce. If I don't mention that he has to announce something, that means that the sniper doesn't even have to say to the defenders what they're doing. And everything is going on the main board, but the sniper, together with his sniper miniature, is off the board until he is identified. His location is uncovered by the enemies, and all of the movements of the sniper will be marked over here. So first, let's focus on playing as the sniper in this game. Now, the goal of the sniper is to complete both of these objectives that they drew on at the beginning of the game before the round tracker ends. And after the sniper completes one of the objectives, the round tracker is reset back to 10. So basically the sniper has 10 turns in order to get to one objective and then 10 turns in order to get to the other. Fulfilling the objective means that the sniper has to reach the designated number with his miniature, whether secretly or whether he's discovered and he's already on the board, and perform the objective action in this space. And then the second one, and after he does the second one, he wins the game. So at the beginning of the first turn, which is very important, the sniper has to choose through which of these arrows on his board they will be entering the map. And this choice is important for two reasons. Because this will allow you to, show up on the map, that's first, but second, it also has some information for the defending team, because the sniper cannot choose a starting space that is in the same zone, so the colored zone, as any of the goals that they have. So in my case, if I have number 9 and number 7 as my goals, I wouldn't be able to start here or here. I have to choose the yellow zone or the neutral zone as my starting space. So let's say that I'm choosing my neutral zone as a starting space, and the sniper always starts off the board. So the first move that the sniper has to do is they have to use the move action in order to move onto the board. We'll go to the move action in just a moment. I will just mention that apart from moving, the sniper has a few other options to utilize during their turn. During their turn, a sniper has a choice of 3 possibilities of what they can do. They can move around the board, they can use 1 loadout card per turn, so one of those equipment cards, and they can take 1 additional action out of the 3 possibilities. They can either shoot, loot, or complete an objective. And we'll be discussing all those actions right now separately, starting with the move. So like I've already mentioned, the first action at the beginning of every game for the sniper has to be a movement action, because if I've chosen this as my starting position, my first action has to be definitely moving into this first area at least. And now the sniper can choose to move generally by 0, so staying in the same space, apart from the first round, because they have to move onto the map, 1, 2, or 3 spaces. And there are a few rules connected with this movement. If the sniper is moving by 0 or 1 space, they move silently, and they don't have to communicate anything to the defending player. So for example, in my first turn, my movement from this starting position could be 1, and I could finish my move action over here and do nothing more. Alternatively, the sniper can move faster, but also noisier by 2 or 3 spaces. And in this case, the sniper can make a movement of, for example, 1, 2, and enter this building here and end his movement on 3. And entering buildings is possible through those doorways that are marked with arrows, or for example, entering gangplanks and stuff like that. We'll be talking about terrains later on. The movement that's longer, so for 2 or 3 spaces, is a noisy movement. And then the sniper would have to communicate to the defenders whether this noisy movement started, passed, or ended in a space neighboring a soldier or an officer. So in this case, if you can see that I've moved here as a noisy movement, on this map, this would mean that the sniper moved here, here, and here. So I would have to say that, well, I've moved and this soldier heard a noise. And this is it. So, for example, if a situation was different and there was a soldier here and here, and my sniper was entering the board from here, for example, and I was doing 1, 2, 3 movement, after finishing the movement, Nobody saw me. I don't have to place my mini on the map, but I would have to communicate to the defenders that this and this soldier heard a noise. And it's up to the defenders to identify what could have happened. Maybe the sniper came through here, or maybe through here, or maybe he came through here, from here and over here and here. Who knows, right? So you always communicate noise if you are moving by 2 or 3 spaces, and you are either starting a movement neighboring a defender figure, ending a movement neighboring a defending figure, or passing next to an enemy figure. It doesn't matter if the figure is outside and you're inside or anything else. Always, if it's a neighboring space, you have to communicate that. You cannot pass through spaces with soldiers or officers. That's one of the ways that the defending players can block the movement of the sniper. So for example, if this soldier was standing here, the sniper wouldn't be able to enter this building because the soldier is blocking the only space. But I would move, for example, 1, 2, and 3 over here, and this soldier would still hear a noise. If my movement was only by 1, then I can stand here basically and say completely nothing because I'm silent, right? Okay, so this covers the movement action basically. So remember, you cannot enter a space that contains a defending unit, but if a defender moves into your space in their turn, you say nothing completely at all, and you can leave this space with the defender during your next move without any problems. You cannot move into a space that you've already occupied this turn, so you can't do, for example, a movement like here, here, and here. You can only enter or exit enclosed, so inside buildings, or elevated spaces, we don't have those on this map, through spaces through borders with those arrow symbols. And when your turn is over, it's good to write the turn number next to your movement line on this board that you have to just later be able to recreate the path when you are telling the defenders how you've, eluded them, or maybe not. This is the movement action for the sniper, and it's pretty easy. So now let's talk about using the loadout cards. Each loadout card, as you can see, has a condition of what to do when you are using this card, like this one. Distraction means that you have to reveal it before using. So before you use the card, you show it to the defending players, and then you can move an enemy unit up to 2 spaces. They must be within line of sight when they end their movement. And then you keep the card revealed. But sometimes the cards can have, for example, a revealed when triggered condition, which means that you reveal the card, you use the card, and you say to the defending players that, okay, I used a loadout card, and you don't have to even say that you've used this one, but you're going to, okay, I use a loadout card, right? You have to declare that you are using it, but you leave it face down until an enemy steps onto the mine, which you mark with an X on your map, and then you flip it over. Or, for example, reveal before shooting, before taking a shooting action, or something else. Each card is pretty well described in the rulebook, so I won't be going into the details about that. But remember that the using of the loadout card, no matter what type it is, whether you have to uncover it or not, has to be declared to the defending players. That you don't have to declare your movement unless it's a noisy movement and somebody heard the noise, but you have to always declare that I'm using a loadout card now. Okay, and the third thing that the sniper can do on the board is one action out of a choice of 3: looting, completing an objective, or shooting. Now, looting is very straightforward. If you manage to reach a space with a number on the map, and this is not your objective, you can perform the looting action, which means that you take 3 new cards from your loadout deck, you look at them, and you choose 1 to add to your loadout, and you put the rest onto the bottom of the loadout deck. Obviously, the defenders will know that you are performing a looting action and you have to cross out this numbered space on your board because you can loot each number only once per game. But the only information that the defenders will gather from this is that you are in any of those numbered spaces, but they won't know which one. Now, completing an objective means that you are at a location which is numbered on one of your objective cards. So if you are, for example, at number 9 or number 7, you can complete an objective. You reveal the appropriate objective card to show, for example, everybody does, oh, I had objective 7 and I've completed it right now. You reveal it. You place the sniper miniature on the main board on this objective so that your enemies know that this is where you were last seen. You add 1 noise token to your bag because the enemies will be more alert right now after you've completed one objective. You've, for example, planted instructions for the informant or exploded the torpedo bay or whatever. And you also reset the round progress back to 10. So this is what happens when an objective is completed. But remember that the sniper can complete their objective as the first action of their turn. So the fact that they've completed an objective doesn't mean that they didn't move after completing the objective. So this space on the map, or this space here, is the space where they completed the objective and where they were last seen, but they don't have to be there anymore. Okay, so now let's go on to the most complicated action in this game, which is shooting. So the shot bag, whether you are playing the standard game or the game with the special snipers from the Eagle's Nest, is always filled with tokens. And those tokens come in 3 varieties usually. This is the aim token, the noise token, and the recoil token. Sometimes you can also get a suppression token. So the aim tokens are required to hit a target. The noise tokens can cause you to have to reveal the position from which you were shooting, and the recoil tokens can cause you to miss your shot. And I've forgotten during the setup, but I added it in the subtitles, that the suppression tokens should be placed on each of the officers in the beginning of the game. Sorry about that, I fixed it in the subtitles. Now, in order to shoot, a sniper has to secretly pick a target which is in their line of sight before they take the shot. So I will be using the sniper miniature on this large map to position the sniper. Obviously, during the game, this miniature won't be there in 99% of the time, but I just want to draw you the situation that we can usually have in the game. So, for example, the sniper is located here in this scenario, in this example, and in order to determine the line of sight, the sniper player has to count the amount of spaces that separate them from the target in the closest possible straight line that starts from any corner of their occupied space and ends in any corner of the enemy's occupied space. So for example, from here I will be able to shoot over 1, 2, 3 spaces because the space the enemy is in is also counted. So you count all the spaces in between plus the space that the enemy is in. So the range for this shot in this line of sight would be 3. And what that means is that the sniper has to draw a minimum of 3 aim tokens from the bag in order to have the shot hit the target. So you always have to draw at least this amount of aim tokens that is equal or greater to the range of your target. So in this case, for example, the sniper player declares that they are shooting a target. You don't have to tell anybody what are you shooting at. until you hit the target, and then you have to declare before drawing how many tokens you'll be drawing from the bag. In order to hit, you need a minimum of 3 aim tokens, so the logical minimum is 3, but if you only draw 3 and you draw 1 miss or 1 noise, then you obviously miss your shot. So it's better to draw more tokens from the bag than your current range, and it also can a bit lead the enemies off your trail, because if you draw only 3, then probably the enemies will be looking somewhere in the range of 3 if you manage to hit and they know where you are. So let's say that I will declare that I'm drawing 5 from the bag. So you get 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5, and this is a very bad result in this case, because let's analyze all the possible outcomes. Now, if I managed to draw 3 aim tokens at least, then that would mean that I have to say that, okay, so I was shooting this guy, you don't reveal your position, I was shooting this guy and he died. And you take this mini off the board for now. If it was an officer that you killed, you take the officer's recoil token, or this one in this case because it was a yellow one, and you add it to your bag. If it was a soldier, then the soldier is just removed from the board and they will be able to come back to it later. And nothing else happens if you had at least 3 aim tokens. But if you draw minimum of 2 noise tokens like I did, then no matter if you hit the target because you have the required amount of aim tokens or you missed the target because you don't, then you have to reveal your position because you've made some noise and the enemies heard you. So even if I managed to kill this guy, which I didn't because I don't have the amount of aim tokens required, I still have to place my mini here, and the enemies right now know that I've shot from this location because we've got a minimum of 2 noise tokens. The suppression tokens that you collect from the officers, from killing the officers, enable you to eliminate noise tokens. So if I had 1 suppression token and I drew it from the bag as well, then in this case, for example, the noise wouldn't be heard and I wouldn't have to reveal my position because this 1 suppression would result in cancelling 1 noise. Now, if you manage to draw a total number of 5 recoils and or noise tokens, this causes a misfire. This means that you miss your shot no matter how many aim tokens you drew. So even if I had 3 tokens with aim on it, but I had 5 of these collectively, I would still miss. Also, if I don't draw 3 aim tokens, I miss, but that's another story. And if this combination of 5 yellow and red tokens includes 2 noise tokens at least, this also means that I've caused a noise and you have to place your miniature on the board, even though you misfired. So those are kind of like separate rules. And remember that recoil tokens cancel noise when you need to reveal your position or not, but they do not cancel the noise token regarding the misfire. So if the situation in my draw was like so, after drawing, then I wouldn't have made a noise because this recoil, this suppression would have cancelled this noise, but I would still have a misfire because of those 5. Oh, okay. Now I would have a misfire. Because I hit the target, I have 3 aims, but I have 5 total of recoil and noise. So it still would be a misfire, I wouldn't hit my target. So this is probably the most detailed example. And after the shot, regardless of the outcome, you return all of the tokens that you drew back into the bag, which is called reloading. Okay, and let's go back to what happens after the shot. I will clean this up. So there are a few things that can happen after you shoot. After you kill a soldier with your shot, whether you were revealed or not, you add an additional aim token into your bag. If you kill an officer for the first time, you add the suppression token that was on their card. And if you kill him another time because he returned on the map and there is no suppression token on their card, you add an aim token like with other soldiers. If there are no more tokens of a singular type to add because of the limits in the box, you don't add anything new to your bag. So now let's talk in detail about what constitutes a line of sight, because now you understand the concept of range, which you calculate through the shortest number of spaces between the soldier and the sniper and their target, but the target also has to be in line of sight. Now, line of sight simply means the ability to see from one space to another without anything blocking the line of sight. And now you have a line of sight if you can trace, like I already mentioned, a straight line from any edge of the space you are on to any space to any edge of the space the target is on without going through an enclosed space, an elevated space, or an obstruction. And this is pretty interesting and can also be a bit confusing. So in this situation, I can trace a line of sight because my line of sight goes from an edge of a space to the edge of the space with the enemy and doesn't go through an enclosed space. If the situation was like so, I wouldn't have a line of sight to this soldier because my line of sight would have to go through this empty enclosed space in order to get here. If the sniper was inside, I would have line of sight here, and I also would have line of sight to this soldier here because although he is in an enclosed space, then I don't have to go through an enclosed space to get to him. I only have to go through an open space. If both you and your target are in enclosed spaces, it's fair game. If both you and your target are in open spaces, it's also fair game. The same works for elevated spaces. There are no elevated spaces on this map, but this rule is identical. So you can shoot from the outside to an elevated or enclosed space, provided you don't have to go through one of them to get to another. So this is a rule of thumb here. And for example, just to paint you even a better picture, if the situation was a bit different, so the sniper was inside the building and the target was outside, I also wouldn't be able to reach this target because my line of sight would have to go through an enclosed space to get outside, but I would be able to reach this and this target because they are all in the same enclosed space as me. Now, with elevated spaces, it's a bit more interesting because if the sniper was on an elevated space, every other elevated space on the map would be within the line of sight unless it's blocked by an obstruction. And obstructions are usually marked with those black X symbols. This is an obstruction connected to water, so this doesn't block line of sight, but if it was a black one, it would be blocking line of sight. So this map is a bit different when it comes to that. So if you manage to figure out the line of sight in this game, everything will become more easy, but during the first game it might get a bit tricky. And talking about this board, there is also one more symbol here that can be a bit complicated, but I will return those soldiers here, but shows up quite often. Those are those exclamation marks, which mean difficult terrain. And difficult terrain means that whenever a sniper or a enemy soldier or officer moves through this kind of terrain, they have to spend an additional point. So if the sniper was moving from here, they would have to move for at least 2 in order to go here, and this would be a noisy movement because they would have to spend 2 here, or for example 3 movement points and going 1, 2, 3 noisily. But here they wouldn't be able to go quietly for 1 movement point and enter this space because this is a difficult terrain space. So that's just an additional piece of information. And this is something that I will add right now. If you have any questions, especially about the line of sight, feel free to write in the comment section below this video. I will try to answer and help you out with any doubts you can have, because if you are playing especially the first game in Sniper Elite, this can be really, really tricky. So please ask away. I will try to help you out as much as I can. Now, we know what the sniper can do. Now let's talk about what the defenders can do during their turn. So the goal of the defenders is to work together to wound the sniper twice with successful attacks, or slow them down enough so that they run out of time and don't manage to do the two objectives that they need to win. So in your turn, each squad has 3 units, but you have only 2 actions that you can perform. So 1 soldier or 1 officer in each unit will always be inactive, let's say. And during the defender's turn, each squad can either gather intel or take 2 actions from a whole list of things that you can do. Now, first, let's talk about gathering intel. So to gather intel with a squad, the officer of that squad has to be in their zone. So this yellow one in the yellow zone, for example, the soldiers can be anywhere. It's only about the officer. So if the player controlling the yellow group wants to gather intel, they move both of their action cubes down as used, because gathering intel is the only thing that you are doing in this round. And then you ask the sniper whether they are anywhere in the yellow zone, and the sniper has to answer truthfully whether they are or not. So for example, in the first round, as the defenders, each defending group can perform the gather intel action to find out where the sniper is, and if the answer is negative every single time, then at least you know that the sniper is in one of the neutral zones. So that would be clear, right? So that's one thing that you can do. If you don't want to gather intel, however, the defending players have a lot of actions to choose from, and you can use 1 soldier 2 times to perform actions, or you can use 2 different soldiers and or officers to perform actions, but the same mini can't perform the same action twice. This is the only condition. So you can use an action to move a soldier or an officer 2 spaces in any direction, remembering that you have to exit through the doors and go up the ladders and stuff like that. So sniper has 3 movement points maximum, where 2 and 3 are noisy, but the soldiers only get 2 movement points. And you can't move a soldier into a space with another soldier or another officer, and vice versa. So 1 space, 1 mini. You can also use an action to attack the space you are currently in. So if you suspect that the sniper is standing in the same space you are in, you say that you attack this space, and the sniper has to tell you that he got hit or not. If he got hit, 1 wound, which means that you flip this token, and 1 more wound would mean that the token is off and the sniper is wounded twice and the game ends. If you don't hit because the sniper wasn't in your space, nothing happens. The sniper tells you that he wasn't there, and that's it. You can also use a spot action to spot 1 adjacent space, adding a noise token to the sniper bag if the sniper was found. So for example, if you think that the sniper is here, you can say that you are spotting this space or this space, and if the sniper was there, then they get a noise token added into their bag, but they don't get hit. Another action that the defenders can do is sweep. Sweeping consists of selecting 3 spaces, the space that your mini is on, and 2 additional matching adjacent spaces. And what does it mean, matching adjacent? That they have to be of the same type, so inside, outside, or elevated. And then you ask the sniper whether they are in any 3 of those spaces. If the sniper says yes, then they are. If not, then no, but that's the only thing that you get out of this. So for example, with this soldier, I would be able to sweep this, and this space, or for example, this, and this space, or for example, this one, and this one, and this one. They have to be matching adjacent to your location. I wouldn't be able from here to sweep this space because it's not matching adjacent, it's only adjacent. You can also, using one of the actions, deploy an officer if the officer was killed and off board before the start of your turn, and you deploy the officer back on the starting space where the officer started the game from. You can also deploy a soldier that was off the map if he was killed earlier, using one of the actions, and you deploy the soldier in a space adjacent to the same colored officer if the officer is located in the matching sector. So if the officer, for example, was here, then you wouldn't be able to deploy this soldier. Okay, and the last thing that you can do is that you can dismiss a soldier or an officer from the board. That means that you willingly take them off the board in order to deploy them later on in a different position because they're, for example, too far away from the sniper and they're useless to you right now. The last thing that you can utilize to your aid as the defender are the special skills of your officers. So each officer is assigned a special ability, which they can use twice per game. After you use an ability, you take off one of the cubes to symbolize that the ability was used once already, and when both the cubes are taken off the card, that means that the ability can no longer be used. And the defenders may use the abilities of multiple specialists in a single turn, but cannot use the same ability twice in the same turn. It is also worth mentioning that the officers do not have to be in their respective zones in order to be able to use the ability. Okay, so this is basically it. Those are the things that the defenders can do in order to prevent the sniper. So I will reiterate one more time a few very important notions for the game, and then we will wrap it up. So the game ends when the sniper completes their 2 objectives, immediately after they complete the second objective, or when the sniper gets wounded 2 times by an attack action, usually an attack action from any soldier or officer, or the timer runs out the 10 rounds and the sniper didn't manage to reach an objective. The sniper has also this bag with the tokens that they prepare in the beginning of the game, and this bag can be affected in a few ways. The first one is that after the sniper kills any soldier, they add 1 aim token into the bag. If they kill an officer, they add the suppression token from the officer card into the bag, and if there is none, they add an aim token. If the sniper is located with a spot action by the defenders, they add a noise token into the bag. When the sniper completes their first objective, they also add a noise token into the bag. And remember that in order to hit your target, you need to have as many aim tokens as the range drawn out from the bag. If you draw a minimum of 2 noise tokens, you have to reveal your position. If you draw a total of 5 noise and/or recoil tokens, you misfire, even if you had the required aim tokens to hit the target. Suppression tokens eliminate noise tokens when it comes to revealing your position, but not when it comes to misfiring. And one more thing that you can add to this is that even if you are in the same space as your enemy, you still have to draw at least 1 aim token to hit the target, which is pretty logical because you always have to count the space that your enemy is in for calculating the range. Okay, so guys, this is it. This is a game of Sniper Elite, the board game for 2 to 4 players. Like I said, the solo rules get a bit tricky because there are quite some changes when it comes to how we play this game, so there will be a separate video for this. For now, thank you very much for watching and paying attention. I hope that this video clarified some things and helped you understand how to play this game. My name was Lone Vic. This was Sniper Elite, the board game. If you like this video and you want to support what I'm doing here on my channel, click the like button, hit the subscribe and ring the notification bell to be notified about new videos, for example, the solo playthrough of this game. And for now, thank you very much for watching. Have a great day and bye-bye. See you soon.